What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Mikey McNuggets, Earl the Pearl G. Bush will be with us in 1 second. He was in with us a second ago, and then he dropped out, which means he's dealing with some internet issues, but G will be joining us here momentarily. We were at the 2-minute warning of the Browns-Chiefs game. The Chiefs currently lead Cleveland 21-7. Earl DTR is in at quarterback, trying to lead a last-second comeback for the Browns. Jameis, with 4 turnovers today, has been replaced by DTR. And I'll just let you start, Earl. DTR in, Jameis out. Let's pretend for this conversation there isn't some kind of crazy 14-point comeback in the last 2 minutes. Have we seen the last of Jameis Winston in a Browns uniform?
I hope so. I think at this point you play DTR. See if DTR can be a dude that can come in and compete for a backup job, or I don't know, possibly be the starter at the beginning of the season. But yeah, Jameis Winston is a walking turnover machine. And for as exciting as he is to watch with all the yards and all that other stuff that come with him, the reality is, man, you cannot continue to turn the football over and think you're going to have any type of success, man. What did he throw? 3 interceptions. He lost a fumble. He ended up getting that back. Like, that's ridiculous. What was it? 4 interceptions? 4 interceptions, 1 fumble loss?
No, 3 interceptions.
Was it 3?
3 interceptions. Chubb had a fumble and the punt. Yeah, 3 interceptions.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, it's a walking turnover. At this point, it's just absolutely ridiculous. The first interception he threw, like Moore was double covered. He was nowhere near being open. So he continues to make poor decisions. You know, you've been the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns 6 or 7 games now. You in the film room all week. You're in the quarterback room. And so, like, you've been around long enough. Like, I can't make no excuses for you. You done had the same coordinator in your ear for a few weeks now, et cetera. Like, this whole team is disgusting to watch. They suck. And to be totally honest with you, there is no reason why Jimmy Haslam shouldn't clean house. Everybody needs to be fired. I said this earlier in the week. I thought like something would happen within the last 3 or 4 games to change my mind. There is no reason why you should bring back Kevin Stefanski or Andrew Berry. Like what they showed, what they put on display at home in front of the fans today was pathetic in every sense of the word.
We'll get to the Berry Stefanski stuff in a sec. G, what'd you think of Jameis Winston today? Got benched after 3 interceptions, his lowest yardage total of the season.
Man, I had to apologize, man. I like fell asleep during the game. You know, I got a little sleep in my eyes, and man, it was trash. What you mean? How you feel about it? Like them picks were like he wasn't even close. You know, when you look at it, one of the Elijah Moore one was in double coverage. I mean, and these are happening inside the red zone, right? Mm-hmm. Like this ain't like it's not like these are interceptions, and you know, I'm waiting for Sean King gonna break down on this one because big bro, you can't say these ain't nobody running. These is bona fide. I just threw the ball. What are you looking at type picks? And so, you know, you put DTR in, you see what you got, but man, this is looking real bleak, man. I'm with Earl. I'm looking around and I'm just like, the stuff that we got, is it really viable? Is any of this really like NFL football? Like it got to a point where it's not viable for NFL football. Like it was a game where the Kansas City Chiefs was like acting like they wanted to let you just stay in the game. Just like, hey, do something.
DTR just threw a pick, by the way. Game's officially over. So that's 6 turnovers for the Browns today as the Chiefs return it inside the 20-yard line. They're going to take 2 knees. The game's officially over.
6 turnovers at home.
Browns lose 21-7. No Taylor Swift in attendance. Travis Kelce, Kareem Hunt, they didn't score. The Chiefs didn't even play well, by the way. No. The Chiefs actually played a subpar game. Every one of their offensive numbers across the board below their season averages, and the Browns just got run out the building thanks to 6 turnovers. And, G, I was telling her before we hopped on, we're going to do, and we just might as well jump into it. A topic on UCSS tomorrow is whether or not you like Kevin Stefanski, whether or not you think he's a good coach or a bad coach. Can he survive 3 more games like the effort we just saw today against the Kansas City Chiefs? And I frankly think the answer is no way. There's no way Jimmy Haslam will allow himself to run it back with the same core, leading the organization from a front office and head coaching standpoint, if this is what he's going to have to see over the last 3 games of the season. There's no way that could happen. It's unacceptable. And frankly, I think, all jokes aside, Kevin Stefanski is now officially coaching for his job in 2025.
And before people get all up in their feelings, because we've kind of gone back and forth about what Kevin Stefanski is and where Kevin Stefanski isn't. Just take the quarterback play out of it. The Browns can't get lined up. Mm-hmm. The Browns are getting pre-snap motion penalties, and he's just sitting there like this.
And that was supposed to get better when he gave up play calling. Remember, that was part of the whole, hey, Ken, you do this so I can focus more on this. And I don't know if it's gotten better. The Browns were near the bottom of the league beforehand. Guess where they still are, Earl?
Bottom of the league. Yeah. So much for CEO in this thing, right?
It looks like we're old. Offensive line is, Nick Chubb has something for the sort of foot injury now. We look, the only ball player look like we got is Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Other than that, they don't look like a professional team.
Gee, I told Earl, real quick, Earl, I said to you before we hopped on that if you told me that 10 of the 11 Browns offensive starters were replaced next season and Jerry Jeudy was the only guy back, I wouldn't be mad.
No. I ain't salty.
All quarterback aside, I know a lot of people still like to lean on, well, Kevin Stefanski is a 2-time coach of the year. And it's like, man, those accolades really don't mean a damn thing in the grand scheme of things. The reality of the situation, after today's loss, Kevin Stefanski is now below 500 as the Cleveland Browns head coach. The reality is this is 4.5, almost 5 seasons complete, and the Browns have had 2 winning seasons, right? We haven't had any consistency at all. No consistency to where we've won double-digit games in back-to-back years. The only time that we won a playoff game under this regime, Kevin Stefanski was in his basement with COVID. Like, I get it. He's done a lot in the past with different quarterbacks. He's done a lot with some kind of like crazy circumstances, right? The craziest being COVID. But to me, knowing like how detrimental that was to everybody in the United States of America and just parts of the world, it's like I kind of really thought it was only up from there. That if you can get the most out of this team under those circumstances, that everything will be on the rise. And it just seems like it's been this consistent train of inconsistency to where being a 2-time coach of the year and everything that you did in the past, it really don't matter because, fellas, what if his message is starting to fall on deaf ears? Like, what if it's really gotten to a point to where the players are not buying into the message or the mantra or anything like that? Yep. Quarterback be damn, like you got to make a coaching change at that point. At that point, the 2-time coach of the year, it don't matter. At that point, what he did with Baker, Jacoby, and Joe Flacco, it just don't matter no more. Like, it don't matter no more.
Listen, teams move on from coaches all the time. Seattle just moved on from Pete Carroll, who won them a Super Bowl, who's going to go down as a Hall of Fame coach. The Patriots just moved on from Bill Belichick, arguably the greatest coach in the history of the NFL. Switch sports, the Cavs won 50 games in 3 straight years. Moved on from J.B. Bickerstaff because they felt a different voice could get the most out of the roster. Sometimes that's the reality of coaching. And it doesn't mean that person is necessarily a bad coach. It just means they're not the right coach for the team in the moment. And Kevin Stefanski may have been the right coach for the Browns in 2020, 2021, 2022. 2024, he certainly is not the right guy delivering the pregame message and putting together the right game plans to attack their opponents. I don't understand for the life of me at all what they were trying to accomplish offensively today, G. I don't understand. They didn't try to establish the run early. They tried to attack the deep passing game with no results on a 4th and 1 play call. I don't even mind passing. I really don't have an issue throwing the ball in that situation because they didn't have success running it. But you're going to put Jerry Jeudy in the backfield as a complete decoy route while Jameis doesn't even turn his head to the right, with the 3 options on the outside being Michael Woods, Jordan Akins, and Elijah Moore. Jerry Jeudy's the best offensive player on the field. I want him being the primary target, not just an in-the-backfield decoy. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And they showed a shot at the end after Jameis's last interception of Ken Dorsey in the press box. And last season in Buffalo, you remember, he slammed the iPad, and that went viral. You could tell he knew there was a camera on him, but his facial expression is what I think I did about 17 different times over the last month, which is a pure, unfiltered, what the F am I watching look, because I can't explain what they're trying to accomplish. I have no idea.
There's no identity in what they want to establish. They can't run the football. They're still having penalties. They're a turnover sieve at quarterback. And this is, I said it, and we said a lot of things before the season, but I said, one of the hardest parts is, people were excited Deshaun Watson was not going to be the quarterback anymore. And I said, listen, if Deshaun Watson is not going to be the quarterback anymore, that's the worst thing possible for the Cleveland Browns, because that means there's no help coming. We all saw Barry K. Cabot's article. I think that article made its rounds this morning or last night. And it talked about the Cleveland Browns giving, Deshaun Watson another opportunity to be the quarterback. But for me, that is very depressing, because we know what DTR is. We see what Jameis Winston is turning football over. Deshaun Watson is not going to be ready to start the rest of the season or beginning of the season. So what are you're coming, if you don't make any changes or any moves, you're just running it back. And this nasty taste that's in everybody's mouth is not going to be rinsed out the entire offseason. You need playmakers. You need to go get more ball players. And frankly, the way they run offense and the way they do things offensively between Dorsey and Kevin Stefanski, I'm not sure I want a new quarterback anywhere around this concept. I don't like your concepts. I don't like the way you coach. I need somebody else that's going to get a fresh set of eyes. And I don't know if I want Andrew Berry evaluating the quarterback. I don't. Maybe you guys can only pick mediocre quarterbacks, and that's the reason why you only have mediocre quarterbacks.
Earl,
maybe that's why you do well with them. But when you can't win like that, man. Like when you look across the field and you see other coaches like Tomlin and you see Andy Reid, and you compare them to what Kevin Stefanski is. He's a nice guy, but it's not even on the same level. We know it.
Before you go, I got a question I want the chat to answer. And to your point, G, the quarterback's the most important position. If you don't have a quarterback, you need everything else around you to be elite, and the Browns aren't at that position. In the chat, real quick, guys, give me a 1 if you think yes, a 2 if you think no. Are the Browns just a quarterback? Whoever that may be. It's a faceless, nameless quarterback. Are they a good quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contending team with the talent on this roster? 1 if you think yes, 2 if you think no. Earl, the floor is yours wherever you want to go.
I think the Browns are so far away from being a Super Bowl contending team, it's not even funny. And I think the Browns need to look themselves in the mirror and just face the reality that you got to tear this thing all the way down to the studs. Instead of operating in your fears, thinking that you can just retool and move forward, this roster is not as talented as we thought it was. The coaching overhaul seemed to have created a steeper learning curve than what we thought. And if you just look at it, we got anemic quarterback play from every quarterback that's on the roster. You got a head coach that seems his message has fallen on deaf ears now. And you got a defensive coordinator who seems to have scheme is figured out. Bubba Ventrone, for all the mountains that was moved to get him to Cleveland.
Send him to the moon.
This special teams unit don't do nothing but give up plays. They don't make plays at all. You just look at every level of the Cleveland Browns organization right now from top to bottom, and I don't see how you could run any of this back. I don't see how you can sell any of this to the Cleveland Browns fan base and think that they're going to continue to buy it. About 2 months ago, I came out and said that the Cleveland Browns are good at marketing, better than they are at winning, that they'll put lipstick on a pig, put it out there and tell us to kiss it, and we'll go do so. I don't think that's the case no more. I think apathy is truly setting in with the fans that support this team. I rode into downtown Cleveland today to go to work. Muni lot was empty at 6 in the morning. And I understand it was wet and rainy, but this is Cleveland. Where it's been wet and rainy, it's been colder, and that Muni lot has been packed. If you looked at that stadium at the beginning of the game, it was empty. When the Browns got the kickoff back in the start of the second half and they turned the ball over immediately, people right away got up out their seats and started to leave the stadium. What they put in front of us is disgusting. We don't want to consume any more of it, and we're tired of it. You need to rip this thing all the way down to the studs and start all the way over.
G, before you go, I saw 3 1s and about 900 2s, which is how I expected that question to go. So just confirming what we all think. G, what'd you want to add on to what Earl just said there?
Yeah, see, it's a new – I think Earl is hitting on something, but it's on a different level, even than what he said. Now, I think we're seeing is people are at a different generation. And we're that different generation and that angst and that apathy towards your franchise is palpable. When you looked at it before, people really thought the Browns community was just about, if you met a guy that was over 50 or 40, 50, 60 years old, he talked about the old Cleveland Browns and how the dog pound and how he loved to be a part of the dog pound and how that was a part of his identity. Listen, unfortunately, we've lost a generation of Browns fans. COVID was tough on a lot of people. COVID took out a lot of people's ability to even want to interact with people. Malls are closing, stores or restaurants are closing. And for the first time, you can feel the I don't care about what y'all talking about in the air. It's the first time because we were at the cusp of talking about Super Bowl. Here you are 3-something. And then they're like, okay, well, we'll just bring back the quarterbacks and we'll continue to bring. And it's like, don't y'all get it? You guys talking about bringing people back when we think you should be gone. We don't even like you. Yeah. Like you think you're secure. And we've always talked about this when we get new regimes in. They get here and they think that they got time to do certain things. And I look back at junction point after junction point after junction point. When they would not make strong business decisions that they should have made. When Baker Mayfield was hurt, they should have sat him. Did they? No, you caved. When you had a decision to say, okay, well, look, this Deshaun Watson thing, let's go ahead and see if we can salvage the season earlier. No, you didn't. You have not made any tough decisions. And now we're sitting here and you're at the cusp of saying, wow, I remember when Joe Thomas wasted his life. Are we really going to tear it down to the studs? Myles Garrett, like, I'm going to be honest with you. You came out and said you want to stay here, but the reality is we ain't no quarterback away. We're not a receiver or D lineman or a GM or a head coach or a front office scouting. We need a whole new wave of something new, and it sucks, but it's going to be a couple years. So the best we can hope for is some young guy, find a young quarterback that we can put our hopes in and hit on something and roll with them and have the growing pains. But I'm here to tell you, boys and girls, the Wizard of Oz ain't coming to fix this thing. It's going to be a long time. Get ready.
Yeah, it sucks because you have expectations, and when you have expectations and you fail to meet said expectations, it hurts 10 times worse. When the Browns were going through those seasons, the 0-16, the 1-15, you kind of went into the year knowing, hey, let's just try to make something fun out of something bad.
Right.
We came into this season. Earl had him in the AFC Championship game. I had him as a playoff team. G, you had him win a playoff game. Bull was the only person in the UCSS universe who didn't have them making the playoffs, and he still had him at 8-9, which would be not just the best case scenario for the Browns from this point on, but it's actually better than mathematically realistic for how bad they've been so far this season. Expectations lead to decisions and consequences that hurt 10 times more than a team that doesn't have anything to play for. And that's what sucks most about this Browns season, because all of us as a collective, not just UCSS, but I'm talking to the 2,000 people we got in the chat right now, all of us overestimated this team on every capacity possible. We thought this could be a top 5 defense for the second year in a row. This defense is butt cheeks. We thought this could be a great special teams unit. We got rid of Mike Prefer. We just signed Dustin Hopkins to an extension. I would send every person involved with the Browns special teams unit to the moon on Elon Musk's next spaceship. The Browns special teams unit should all have first-class tickets. This offense, Ken Dorsey, RPOs, Deshaun's healthy, looks better than ever. We all know how that panned out. Jameis, hey, he's going to fix it all. We're sitting here at 3-11, guys. I think all of us hated watching 3 hours of football today. Did you find any enjoyment in that game?
At all?
No, nothing. It's a miserable experience because what we thought this team could be and the reality of what it is could not be further apart. And I'm trying to think back through all my years of a sports fan, not just Cleveland related, but just in general, of a team I had legitimate expectations for that was this bad in reality. And I'm struggling to find a comparison in any sport, basketball, baseball, football, to a team that was supposed to be good that is this stinking bad. And not just bad, but like depressingly, heart-achingly, painfully bad at all facets. I can't find a good example.
Sometimes you got to laugh, man, because, you hear a lot of people say, I ain't even wasting my time watching it. And it's funny because we're in a situation to where you can even turn it off if you want to, right? We got to sit there and watch it. So for those who are not contractually obligated to be sitting there watching the Cleveland Browns, man, shout out to you. I hope that you spent the majority of your Sunday doing something that's a little bit more pleasurable and more enjoyable with your life. But this ain't it.
It's not it. That ain't it. And we'll see if you can find something. But man, it's just we gonna have to take the consequences. And hopefully we realize, and I want to go back to it, that when you do get a high draft pick and you do identify a player, you can't miss. You can't miss on Jed Wills, and you can't miss on Greg Newsome, and you can't miss on Baker. You can't have these picks and understand that what you have to go through, the pain you got to go to get those picks. And these general managers don't understand this. While they playing chess and checkers and games with rosters, we got to support this team and watch this team each and every Sunday. And then when you get to a place that you get to a point where you do have a top 10 pick and they act like they're going to get cute with it, no. This is what happens when you get cute. You now have to lose games again, and we're talking about the Deshaun Kaisers of the world and the Colt McCoys in the third round. And
sorry to cut you off. Nick Chubb suffered a broken left foot, by the way. So he's done for the year. And I don't know what that does for the rest of his career, but obviously just devastating news for the heart and soul of this Browns team.
Wow.
Which knee did he hurt? Do you remember? Was it his left knee, his right knee?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Left foot though, right?
Left foot he just broke, correct.
Yeah, that sucks for Nick Chubb, man. That sucks for him. He worked his ass off to get back, and he was just happy to just be out there playing football, let alone the production side of things. And here it is, a broken bone. You're right. You don't know what that's going to do for his career. And it just sucks.
He was probably thinking, because I've done this too. When you get injured and you come back and you're not the same person you were, you just hoping to get back. You want to get through the year healthy, and you just want to get to the off season so you can train and do. Now it's just devastating because he's going to say, I'm back to rehabbing. I'm not training. I'm rehabbing a foot now. And I just got done rehabbing a knee. And at that age and the arthritis, and you never know, and I'm not wishing anything on anybody, but I just know how devastating injuries could be when you have back-to-back injuries and you're trying to deal with a knee and you're trying to maintenance the foot too.
Left foot, he hurt his left knee, so it's the same limb. Two different injuries sustained in the last year and a half for Nick.
Yeah, Chubb might look at this situation and not even really want to get himself mentally prepared to go through that again. You'd have made your money. Regardless if you never suit up for the brown and orange again, Nick Chubb is forever a Cleveland Browns legend. And how we view him will always be through a very special and very unique lens. So prayers to you, Nick Chubb, man. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Let's highlight two Browns real quick who I did think played well, and then we'll get to some super chats and wrap up. But Jerome Ford and Jerry Jeudy, the only two guys I think you could look at and say those two performed above expectations on the offensive side of the ball. Ford became the Browns' first 70-yard rusher in 21 games, and Jeudy cracked 1,000 yards in a season for the first time in his career today. He had 9 catches, another solid game for Jeudy, but outside of those two, it's tough to find any real positives to take away from this offensive performance from the Browns.
Yeah, Jerome Ford had a nice run. Jerry Jeudy continues to have a breakout season. And it's safe to say it is a breakout season. He never had 1,000 before. I think he might be the only person in the world that might be like, nah, keep throwing Jameis out there. I'm going to get 35 targets, bro. Like, he going, hey, listen, keep throwing him out there. I'm going to mess around and get 1,500.
Jerry Judy said lost season where?
Where? What you talking about? I don't know what y'all talking about. He listen, he continues to put his meat and his leather on leaving the stadium. Like, I am him. I am him, Han. Oh man. But he's been the bright spot and the fun thing to talk about. If I was Myles Garrett, I go out there and get my little 100 and get up out of here.
Yeah. I thought Mike Hall played good today too from the defensive side.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we talk about the Browns not being able to force turnovers. Thornhill was in the perfect spot to pick off one of Mahomes' passes, and Denzel Ward made a nice PBU, broke it up, and it ended up breaking up the interception too, which is like the perfect encapsulation of the Browns season. Is even when they make a good defensive play, it negates what would have been an even better defensive play in the back end. Earl, final thoughts before we get to some super chats here?
I ain't got no more thoughts, man.
That sums up the Browns season. We're going to say goodbye to our Bleacher Report audience. We appreciate everyone on the Bleacher Report app for tuning into this. You can find us Monday through Friday on YouTube on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We appreciate you guys tuning in as we get to our super chats here on the YouTube stream of our 2-minute post-game show report as the Browns fall to the Chiefs 21-7. Sly says, at least the O-line is giving Jameis time to throw picks, trying to find a plus. And that Judy contract is looking real nice right now. We just mentioned Judy, 9 catches again, over 1,000 yards for the first time in his career. He was on pace with Jameis Winston before today to have a 1,900-yard season. That came down a little bit, but those two have really developed some nice chemistry early on. AWZ Sigma says 4 with a new coach. Baker under the right coach. Shrug emoji. Moving on. Mr. I crap and shit says, are we almost to the point that we tell Haslam to go ahead and move the team out of state? No team may be better than what we have. You can't trade Haslam.
Nah, man, stop. You wasting your time.
Nah, I ain't never that mad to where I don't want the Browns in Cleveland. I ain't never that mad.
Yeah. No, we're not going to do that.
Bad football is still better than no football. Like, at the end of the day, I will die on that hill.
I lived through that, through my adulthood. It's trash. Can you imagine waking up on Sunday and being like, hey, let's watch the Bengals and the Steelers, man?
Yeah, no. Joseph Dulé says, is 300 going to sink the head coach? Real quick around the horn. Yes or no, is Stefanski the head coach of the Browns? Not should he be. Will he be the head coach of the Browns in 2025?
If at a 300 mark,
he's saying they're 3-10 this year, 3-11. Will that get him fired? So do you think
if he ends the year 3 wins, yeah, he's gonna get fired.
I don't think he's the coach next year.
I think if he get 3 wins, no more wins, and they play like this, fired.
I agree. If they lose the last 3, he's fired, because anytime we're unanimous, we're wrong. And I actually am now leaning. I've swayed my opinion 30 times on what you should do with Stefanski. I'm back to you have to clean house. So I'm going to say he stays, just so we're not unanimous, because if we all say he's gone, that essentially confirms he's coming back next year. I don't want to be the one to put bad juju on that. Zadkiel Sheeler says Jimmy Haslam has got to do something about this man. What Haslam could do is clean house and start from scratch. Like, that is, I think, he can keep everyone, but.
And here's what I want to say too. If you just want to blame the owner, I'm gonna just be honest with you. It's a cop out almost. Listen, yes, Jimmy Haslam does some things, but Kevin Stefanski has the right to call plays. Kevin Stefanski picks who plays. Kevin Stefanski chooses what plays or what his staff is doing to a certain extent. No one told Andrew Berry to take these. Like, I get it. You want to put it on the owner, but you have to get down to the brass tacks and say, you as a man, as an individual, everybody has to take accountability for what they are doing and not doing. And just saying his owner is not going to make us any better, because he ain't going nowhere.
No. And last super chat is Joseph Silver, who says AB and Stefanski got to go. Mike Hall played well. Yeah, we touched on that earlier. We'll touch on it again throughout the week on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. The Browns are 3-11 with 3 games to go. They have the Bengals, the Dolphins, and the Ravens to close it out. So we'll try and figure out how that goes. Oh, we got one more super chat. Do you think Winston would have looked better with Coop and Judy?
He might have had some more touchdowns, but he still picks.
Yeah, I mean, I think any quarterback looks better with better weapons, but Jameis is Jameis. So,
yeah, the picks. Remember McNuggets I said last week broke me.
Yeah.
I said I'm broken.
I'm excited to see what Sean King has to say, because if he sees something different, then I
ain't see it. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep. Listen. I gotta keep it a buck. Them picks in the end zone, them was not. Hey, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer wasn't catching them on Christmas Eve.
All right, that's going to do it for the 2-minute warning post-game show for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. For G. Bush, for Earl the Pearl, I'm Mikey McNuggets. We'll see you tomorrow on UCSS. Peace.
Peace.